Hello, good evening, witchy friends. Me live again. This is Bridget Owens, and I'm popping on to talk about my upcoming book, DeepSelfMagic.com, which is launching on Thursday. We are so close to the launch day. Hello. Thank you for watching. So as we are getting closer and closer to the big launch event for the book, I wanted to go live again and talk a little bit about how the book came to be and what's in it and who it's for and why you might want to read it. So before that, before I get into all of that though, just the basics of why I'm on here. The book is called Deep Self Magic, Deep Self Magic, A Step-by-Step Roadmap to Spiritual Authenticity. It's really it's a treatise, it's a digging into what is authenticity, what does spirituality mean to people, like what is magic, how does this all fit together, how, into shadow work and evolution and all of this stuff. It's really wrapping all of those topics into kind of a coherent, just a path, a roadmap to not just figuring out who you are and not just figuring out what spiritual path you want to be on, but really finding a practice that's not just authentic, but benefits you and helps you with, your personal evolution, which is going to, look different for each of us. So that launches on Thursday, October 28th. We are going to have a virtual launch event at 8:30 Eastern Time PM on Thursday night. Details on that are going to be at deepselfmagic.com if you want to check that out. While you're there, you can sign up for the giveaways, which I will be doing 2 weeks worth of daily giveaways of lots and lots of different kinds of things. Check out the other live videos. I've talked about my other coloring books, my tarot workbook, my tarot deck, all of that stuff. So those are going to be in the giveaways, signed copies of Deep Self Magic. And there is a book trailer. I paused for a minute. Sorry, my battery's going. So I will not stay on here forever. But that's on the website at Deep Self Magic as well. And the vertical version is here in my IGTV. So check those out. So to dive in and dig into what I wanted to talk about today, I've been going live every day for the last almost a week now to just kind of talk about how the book came to be, where it comes from, why I decided to write it, basically where the ideas came from. And so I encourage you to kind of go back and watch some of the ones I did earlier in the week, kind of talking about my spiritual history and, where some of the basic concepts for this came from. But I wanted to talk today about sort of one of the things that I went through thinking about that led to this book was, how do I define my own spirituality, and what label do I give it? And because as I kind of got more in touch with my own authentic spiritual identity, the less I felt like I could describe it to other people, because it wasn't something that fit really well within a predetermined path. Like, I study alchemy. I think I mentioned that a few times. I mentioned it a lot on my podcast and that sort of thing. But that's not a religion. That's not a spiritual path. It's a discipline. But it's not a spiritual identity. For a while, somebody had suggested that maybe I was, sort of a humanist, and I was like, oh, maybe, but that didn't seem to really fit either. Just because there's some technicalities in there, like technically I don't, believe in a deity, but it's kind of all in technicalities, and it wasn't a real accurate label. Didn't feel right. The usual, the traditions, the cultural traditions, none of them really felt right. It's not nature-based the way a lot of people think about nature-based spirituality. So nothing about my spirituality is really formal, and it was going around and around with those labels and feeling like, at some point I've got to be able to find a way to describe to other people what it is that I am. Because because that's what we do, right? When we talk spirituality with people, we try to find some way to simply communicate to others where we sort of sit on the spectrum. And, a lot of what I had found as far as my own spiritual path, alchemy included, I found it by going to a meetup, by meeting other pagans on various spiritual paths, by, talking about ideas and theories and concepts and experiences with other people. And so it was, I had all these pieces that didn't really fit together into a label that made sense. So one of the things that alchemy did, though, is help me find a way to talk about spirituality that made sense to me outside of the sort of religious preconceived notions about what spirituality means. And in that, I kind of found a way to navigate the lack of label. And so I would challenge everybody to think a little bit before you pick up the book about, how well do the labels that you use really fit you? And how hard is it to communicate your spirituality to others? And what are your go-to ways of communicating that? Because I think most of us, our first instinct is to go to talking about what we believe and sharing our beliefs, that our spirituality is about what we believe. But when we make it about beliefs, then we also make it about whose beliefs are right. And I think we've attached that power, that significance to labels so that it's complicated to use them if they don't fit us completely, and they don't maybe communicate well if we're in that sort of zone. Because labels do have a purpose. They're about expression so that others understand us, but they're not very useful if we try to fit ourselves to the label instead of finding the label that fits us, or pretend that we fit and ignore the rest. And I talk a lot in the book about sort of my journey of coming to terms with various paths that I've been on, various labels that I've, put on over the years, and either just saying, well, I'm this except for that, these aspects. I'm, humanist except for, or I'm an atheist except for, or, I'm Catholic except for. I'm not anymore, but I was. Or doing the, I'm just going to be quiet about the ways that I don't agree with the dogma and the rules and the label, and pretend that it fits. And, further back in my history, doing I'm going to do everything I can to make myself fit, and going through not just the sort of labeling ourselves aspect of that, but the long-standing baggage that comes out of those coping mechanisms as well. So that's one of the key sort of concepts that gets covered in the book. So if you've ever, really kind of struggled with, is this really my path? Is this, how do I explain my spirituality to people? How do I label myself? Where do I fit? This is absolutely a book to read. So just to recap, I don't want to keep everybody watching too long on a Sunday night. Hope everybody has had a really great weekend. But so the book is called Deep Self Magic, a step-by-step roadmap to spiritual authenticity. It comes out on Thursday in ebook form. The paperback is going to be a little bit delayed thanks to all sorts of supply and shipping delays, but will come out soon thereafter. And super excited if you're interested in signing up for the giveaways or learning more about the virtual launch event that's going to happen Thursday night. Go to deepselfmagic.com. And if you have any questions about it, please feel free to hit me up on the DM. Check out my other my YouTube and my Facebook and the website for lots more details and videos and information. And can't wait till Thursday. Thank you so much for hopping on and joining me live.